Coming up on Inside Moore, we'll show you how one Moore firefighter is making a difference using something as simple as an app. We'll also take you inside the brand new state-of-the-art Public Safety Center. But first, we'll show you how new homes in Moore will be safer the next time Mother Nature roars. That's all coming up right now. This framed house on Southwest 6th Street seems ordinary enough. It's not unlike many of the construction projects that can be seen across the city. But with the right knowledge and a good eye, you'll see that this house is no ordinary structure.
We're just proud to be the first ones in Moore to build a house to meet the code. It's a show of support for the code as far as we're concerned.
Home builder Marvin Hayworth is talking about new building codes adopted by Moore City Council this year, designed to protect new homes from wind speeds up to 135 miles per hour, a huge improvement over the original 90-mile-per-hour requirement.
It's basically a minimum standard for construction. And in general, the United States, we do a pretty good job. But the one area that has been ignored is high winds in the Central Plains. And high winds in the Central Plains often come in the shape of tornadoes. On this, and it should be zigzag.
The new codes are a first of their kind in the nation, based in part off research from civil engineer and OU professor Chris Ramsayer. On this day, he helped builders of this first code-compliant house understand how the new codes would better protect homeowners from high wind events.
What we found in evaluating homes following the May 20th tornado damage was that garage doors would tend to fail first, then the garage would fill with wind, and it would essentially, it's like blowing up a balloon. The building wants to expand. So one of the things we're requiring is a wind-rated door to go to 135 miles per hour. And then the increased engineering on the frame basically says that you're going to have things like metal straps connecting a header to your studs.
Those metal straps and clips are also required around the frame of the house, securely connecting the roof to the rest of the structure.
One of the biggest loads in a high wind event is actually suction. The roof tries to lift off the building, and this basically will keep the roof attached.
We're trying to tie every member of this house together to make it a much stronger unit so that it will be more difficult for a tornado to pull the house apart.
Engineers and builders point out that an F5 tornado would still do damage to even these upgraded homes, but the damage would be less significant.
I want to make sure that people understand this will reduce the width of the damage track from the tornado, and it will reduce the amount of debris in the tornado that gets thrown everywhere.
And if you have a neighborhood that is totally built to this standard, a brand new neighborhood that's completely built to this standard, you will have much less flying debris to damage other structures.
The building codes apply to new home construction and any existing homes rebuilding 50% or more of their structure. And it's an investment the city feels is worth it for homeowners.
I feel like this is a positive for our community. You know, unfortunately, this is our second F5 and about the third tornado in the last 15 years. So we want to energize the redevelopment and the construction, and I feel like this will do that.
Added peace of mind helped homeowner Carolyn Struhal make her decision to build to the new codes, even though construction on her home started before the codes were adopted.
I had heard about it, but then I read it in the paper that day, and so I called my builder. I asked him about it and to see how much it might cost, and I just felt that the price was well worth building a stronger house. Yeah, because we have a lot of Oklahoma winds.
With this watershed decision by the Moore City Council, residents can feel even safer knowing their homes or the homes around them are better protected against nature's fury.
If you're a builder in Florida, you build to a hurricane-resistant house. If you're a builder in California, you build to withstand earthquakes. And so in Oklahoma, our natural disaster here is tornadoes, And in all the years of my home building, we've never addressed that fact. This is the first time in my entire career that we have addressed tornadoes as a fact that we should address in building homes.
For more information on the building codes, visit cityofmoore.com.
It's one of the scariest moments for people. Having to call 911. Residents of Moore expect their emergency responders to reach them quickly when they're needed the most. The City of Moore understands this need and has responded with a new public safety center designed to give residents added peace of mind. The new safety center has all the amenities that a growing city needs. With 3 departments in one building, the city can now quickly and confidently manage everything from emergency services to the average speeding ticket in a single location, the same location of the older police station.
The police department had added onto that several times, just trying to make do with the space that they had. It was a very dilapidated building, was very inadequate for this size of the city. But the new building is just an enormous facility. We have plenty of room to build into. We have a lot of growth that we can have and still have plenty of room in this building. The police department takes in a lot of property every day, found property, evidence, things like that. We have adequate facility now to house all that. All of our detectives and me and everyone has their own offices now. We have a media room that we can do interviews in. There's several different things that this one has that was thought out to help us grow in the future.
Moore has been booming for years, and with this rapid expansion, a custom facility was needed to keep up, consolidating several different municipalities into one central location. The Safety Center was designed from the ground up to handle all of Moore's growing needs well into the future.
Well, we've needed this for years. You know, the city of Moore is one of the most dynamic cities in the state of Oklahoma. The population's increasing, and we were bursting at the seams at our facility, as was the police department and emergency management. It'll make it much easier for citizens of Moore to come in to take care of traffic tickets, and they can do things online with our new computer system that they couldn't do before. The customer service aspect of our facility is much more user-friendly. We'll be able to get people processed in and out when they do need to come to court much quicker. All in all, it'll be a much more pleasant experience for folks.
And a pleasant experience for all the municipal staff. The Safety Center was built like a concrete bunker to resist even the strongest winds that the Oklahoma weather can conjure. The safety and security of the Emergency Center rivals that of the National Weather Center in Norman.
The crown of what we have is the Emergency Operations Center itself, which is the room we're in here. That is about 1,500 square feet of training room, conference room, but more importantly, it's a place for our city's leadership to work should we have a large-scale emergency or disaster. It's a room that has a lot of technology in it that supports the information needs that those leaders will have to be able to make good decisions. The Emergency Operations Center is more than just the operations room. Again, it houses some offices for us, which we've never had simply an office. We've always had a combined office and communications area. The 911 people have a room that was actually designed for communications. In the past, they've always been shoehorned into some space that, oh, here's an extra room, we'll put you there. Well, this was actually built for their needs.
Moore's Safety Center is a shining example of the municipalities working closely together, remaining an example for rapidly growing cities everywhere. And next time this happens,
Moore 911, where's your emergency?
You can feel safe knowing the city is ready to help when you need them most.
We have an officer on the way. He should be there shortly.
So we can use the app to locate the shelter that's now located on this property.
They say necessity is the mother of all invention.
You can see on here, we're the blue dot, so we can track towards the house.
That's certainly the case for Moore firefighter Sean Nidell. Sean has invented a new app for an iPhone or iPad, allowing firefighters a better way to find storm shelters after a disaster. It was an idea born directly from the May 20th tornado.
And I couldn't tell you where I was at. I thought I was on 15th and I was on 13th. That's kind of how bad it was because it all looked the same. So when they give us an address and they say go to this address, it's not impossible, but it's almost impossible. So, and then when you get to the address, you have a whole lot, a neighborhood lot to find a shelter on. Some people put them in the backyard, some in the front, some are in the garage. And when it's 4 foot deep of 2x4s and cars and boats, it's like, where do you start?
Well, thanks to Sean, you now start with a mobile phone or iPad.
So basically, if we look at this map, it shows us a pin, and our blue dot is right at the base of the pin. The pin is this shelter location. So if we were in a sea of debris, we would know that we're relatively close to this shelter, which, this being an above ground shelter, hopefully we could find it pretty easily. But if it was underground, it'd be the same situation.
According to Moore Deputy Fire Chief Greg Herbster, the new app is light years ahead of their old way for finding shelters.
And it was like a phone book with all the shelters located or listed on there, and it just listed by streets. So you just had to thumb through there and try and find the 100 block and the street. And it just wasn't real user-friendly in an emergency situation.
Basically, the new system pinpoints the location of every registered shelter on a map to the exact spot of the shelter, not just the address. It then provides all sorts of helpful information and allows firefighters to check off the location when it's been searched.
We can bring up information about the shelter, and this is what the inspections department pulls in. It gives us addresses, it gives us the size of the shelter, the location, or how many people might be in it if they're on any special medications. So we can kind of decide what we need to bring with us to this location.
If I'm stuck in it, I want emergency workers to be able to get to me as fast as possible. So I absolutely would be registering so they know exactly where I am.
With so many new shelters being constructed in Moore, this new technology underscores the importance of getting them registered, creating peace of mind that if you're trapped inside, someone will be there to get you out, and soon.
Anything that's going to make their process more efficient so that they can move as quickly as possible from one property to the next is a strength that we should be tapping into. So I think that being able to GPS signal those shelters and pinpoint exactly where they are so they can locate those individuals and move on to the next property is the best way to go about it. I'm excited there's new technology to be utilizing in that search.
And all from a Moore fireman, whose former job happens to have been computer engineer, now using his tech know-how to make things better in Moore.
It's one of those things where if you see something that you could make better and you have the ability to do it, you know, it's always like, let's just do it and make it better. Because I was here in '99, we had the same problem. You know, the storm went north of us up here, but same issue, looking for shelters, couldn't find, you know, we had a registry. It was the same as it was this last year. So it was like, we're not gonna do this again. The next time this happens, we're gonna be able to get people out, help people faster.
So we're just very blessed to have guys like Sean that are so willing to go above and beyond their duty to try and create things like this and make this a better department and safer place for our citizens.